Good morning. We'll start with Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. From the heart of the Saviour, the 100 deities of Tushita, on a peak of a cloud resembling a clump of extremely white fresh curd, King of Dharma, omniscient Losandrapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me, on a lion throne, lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please abide for 100 eons to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence that understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its excellent explanations is an ear ornament of those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you who are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, light, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated. I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the three vows that I have collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in this degenerate age, and made your freedoms and riches meaningful by abandoning the eight worldly concerns. Saviour, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy gurus, from the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion, in the sky of the Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profound and extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings and all transmigratory beings, and in particular may it cause the essence of perfect pure Losandrapas things to shine forever. Saji Porki Joshi Meto Drown Rabling Shi Ni Degen Padi Sam Geshe Tu Mi Te Olwa Hiro Konam Dak Jing Lai Chun Pa Sho. By the merits of having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his two sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and exercise the teachings of the victorious one, Losandrapa, who had the morality of an eminently pure way of life, was courageous in the extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of two stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamiyat Ayami. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts, perfect, pure Father and Sons, and combining into one enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of the tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, obscurations, and their imprints without exception. My body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. So we'll do the 5-line maxima on page 8, 3 times together. Make me say way to chin chen rei zig, dream me kempe wampo jampel yang, dupon malu jom se san wei dan, genshin kepe sungen song kapa, Losan drape jabla sowaden. Migme se we te chin chin rezi. Dreame kempe wampo jampel. Dupon malu jom se sanweda. Genshin kepe sungen songkap. Losan drape jabla sowaden. Migme se we te chin chin rezi. Dreame kempe wampo jampel yang. Dupon malu jom se sanwe dan genshin kepe sungen son kapa losan drape jabla soade. So now we'll do the prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Fearless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice. You wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples.
Sanji Chodan Tsojin Chonum La Changcho Bardo Dan Kyabsun Dagi Chuji Yebon Dagi Drolam Pens Sanjin Drobar Sho Sanji Chodan Tsojin Chonum La Changcho Bardo Dan Kyabsun Dagi Chuji Yebon Dagi Drolam Pens Sanjin Drobar Sho Sanji Chodan Tsojin Chonum La Chancho Pardo Dame Japsun Dagi Chushi Jebonda Dagi Roland Pens Sanjin Drobar Sho Namo Lai Gedan Ludano Jigi Tribun Danami Kenam Dro Kunji Tanum Chizum Tamji Gedu Dagi Chuden Do Kangi Tuzi Nizuni Tawa Tamji Pambichari Tambi Chun Tenzi Kodam Tela Chanzi Lo Good morning, everyone. Shabbat
Shabbat Geshe. Ale, it's a very nice day today here. We need
happiness.
Yeah, we need to feel happy, yeah?
Happiness.
Happiness, kipo lamna dire, ni happy latna yang kibure. When are you most happiest?
Which time, morning or afternoon or evening or night time? When? Morning. Me too. Every day. Excellent. For me, it's morning. Morning 3:30 to 8 or 9 o'clock. This very good time. I think happiness, because I just my prayers, little bit meditation, and reading some Dharma books, listen to Dalai Lama's teaching is very peaceful for my mind. And then after at 39, and then need to listen some difficult questions, situations, and then no relax. Re, tagda diksa.
Is that enough?
Labdan the diksa.
So is my way of speaking and sharing with you, is that okay?
Yeah.
No, lamna ditsare.
Tinza inji tola. The say important. Re important say chikta. Then understand and peaceful. Then respect. So it's very important. Respect is very important for this life. And understand also, I think, very, very important.
Hello.
If you have understand, then less problem, less angry. Some people don't understand, and then more problem. Yeah, I see this. Yeah. Pena lega chi saji ki pena ta soda jimbai no. Soda di dagbo di gi soda di dagbo di droso mangbu shu tang chin soda di tsuk yora ta ta droso pa tang shawa di tong ti marza tsu yong go ma se ke kepsang ji ra go yora. Kepsang ra ya dia ani lega chingya la ya la chan tangwa. Tsama toni tondo kola ya sozo la kepsang chi yong go yora. Di chi digi ani leje bala ya dikshi shaya dang leje bala ya kodik che ya ani lega chingya zola ya keja she ya dindi che go di terin di che go di terin den go sanyi den go di slab chi ko keja she wondi janda digi ani tozu tsama ta di ko janda digi lega ro ta leje ba so di imba de ha ko wa na ha ko na ta understand cha go ro di ha ko wa na 아니 내가 제야 디 서로가 깔리 소바디 용어요 사리스 한선 콜 카요 말아 그 딜라고 콜 랑인드라 페는 고팅이 고콘 고팅이지 고팅이디 깨제시고 뭐도 고팅이디 내가 징이 냠도 돈 내가 시트고 말아 된 고팅이디 깨제 가리시에 용바이네야 참sam의 수수기 삼수다 많던 바지 용식을 임바이네야 델리에 수sem 체진 아니 두 드로바나 아니 소즈 레가얀 디드로바 되게 소다디 레드는 디드로바 되니 고틱다 창부차로야 딘디 망부 인거라서라 당간주 메세 나올라야 레가 치고 와라다 가와 드로바 있네야 치존나 아니 벤조 요나 레가 치고 벤조 메나 레가 치고 와라서라 다디 디게 samshid yobana ta samshid understands samshire
That's it.
ta di yobana jacha jatan batni susu mesana nyokta nyo yosaris kashik samshi chigmunda understand chitugmunda tini nyokta chagda asra susu kibu mewacha chitso kibu mewacha those drugda asra
So, for example, if we take a factory odor or a organization owner. They're the owner, and then we have the workers. But the owner themselves, they've gone to great expense and hardship in order to establish that factory or that organization with the intention of gaining a profit. But also the workers go and work at this factory or organization with the intention of gaining some profit. But the owner needs to pay those workers and so on. But the workers themselves, they interact with the owner and they understand. They can develop an understanding the amount of work and effort that goes into owning and gaining the running the business on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, that today we must do this and that, and tomorrow we must do this and that. There is a relationship. Yeah. So if the workers or the staff are able to understand what is required to operate this factory or organization, then they'll have a better understanding about how to manage their problems if difficulties arise. Yeah. So it is the responsibility of the owner to make sure that all operations are functioning well. This is the responsibility of the owner. But if the staff or the workers don't understand the great effort and difficulty that the owner must undertake in order for all work to run smoothly, then it's very difficult for the workers to really manage any difficulties well, yeah, when they do arise, yeah. So of course there is the possibility of a variety of different views and perspectives arising. But if a staff member understands well what the situation is, then it'll be a lot easier to develop patience when their difficulties arise. So, with this deeper understanding or a wider perspective, then the staff will be able to manage their own work, and the owner will be able to manage their responsibilities well, based on a mutual understanding. So, in the same way, we all need to abide in our society. We need to work and we need to gather our own resources. So, if we're able to have a deeper understanding of the situation that ourselves and others are working amongst, then when we do experience difficulties and problems, then we'll be able to reflect better and practice patience more easily. And therefore, we'll have a reduced amount of problems and difficulties that we experience. Whereas some people, they do not consider the situation deeply. They don't have a deeper understanding, and they encounter more discomfort and unhappiness for themselves, and they are unable to see that situation in society. But for those that do consider, that do understand more deeply, then they themselves will be much happier, and society will be much more happier. Let's say
Teda go tingin jin by na mansok lega chingin ge kanga dang and dizu samshi tugo go dasra ra understand che tugo go dasra da di che by na ani chokba di dai da yabu chaga da chokba khanda jin by na yabu chaga da tadingi kharjin lagu is la by na nganzu number sanji bi chu she go rasra number sanji bi chu number sanji bi chu na ne kyang 태부 천벽이 추세. 태부 천벽이 추슬라면디 아니 숨전 탐제기 제도 썸단고 그랬어. 그래서 숨전 탐제기 아니 종난 감다 매바도 뛰니 내가 제투고 그랬어. 먼저 아니 남바상기비다 개비 엉부터서 이만 가르송 요랬을라디 리빈딩가디 신고 그랬어. 리빈딩가디 마시바이나 상기 투 말했어. 먼저 대바집이 쟤는 상기고 그랬다. 상기셋 상기고 그랬어라. 다 리빈딩가디 마시나 상기 투 말했어. 걔네들 쓰기 신고해.
Dada shigibe, yeren di turatis hagoyo.
리빈딩가 달라 잠바 마치나 리빈딩가 telaya 장바 치고 그랬어. 롭종 치고 그랬어. 리빈딩가라 롭종 마치나 아니 박바 있나요? 박바 대기의 개벌도 박바 있나요? 상기 두고 말했어.
Nga lapna any taka gaha lapgire.
이제 잠깐가
Lasula.
아니 배나 다 소리고 소와리고 다리고 세마리고 세줘라. 뭐 두수배 아니 배나 맨다 찔러 소와 신고 그랬어. 상기발라 참아 신고 그랬어라. 지속은 조단 인지미 신고다서라. 지속은 조단 지속은 감다 매바 칸데 요메 그래서 참아로 신고 그랬어. 드니 삼시 생에도 제투 거라서라. 먼저 삼시 제투 거라다. 아니 수심 제투 거랬어. 다간지 식디. 아니 완전 벽에 던지는 삼시 세들에서 삼시 제야 수심 제야 세. 인지 돌아야 understand 세들인다.
That's
오늘 전에 계시 뭐 쇼래서 식디라. 근데 남이 짐바이네야. 남이 근데 교각이 이미 짐바이네야. 찍찍래야 understand 치마도나. 되니 깔리래다서라. 그 아주 수비 접단 게 차네. 부모이나 그런 거라야. 아니 니마니마기 아니 감 교어줘야 수비 내단 교어줘야. 아니 텔레템비 아니 이모션 대 교어줘야. 텔레템비 깨져셔다. 아니 지용당 남교된다 교어줘야지. 요러다. 아니 불이나 딘더로 용거라다. 요러와서. 다 딘디기 그 수수기 개발다. 아니 곰실라 소바. 딘디 삼시 제투바이나 아니 욕답에 용아 참부진 대토야 기부진 대토야 다도 참을로 남산지비 대부친비 로존나로야 용구요레스
so as a owner of a organization or a factory of some description and their relationship with the workers, the staff, then if that relationship, if they have a mutual understanding, then when difficulties do arise, then they're better able to deal with them and practice patience, So that the overall feeling of that relationship can create a positive atmosphere within the organization, So why are we mentioning this, From a Buddhist perspective, in particular from a Mahayana perspective, the motivation and what we develop our understanding is the context of working for the sake of the benefit of all living beings, So if we're able to reflect and understand the situation in the context of all living beings, then we can work in harmony with those beings and their specific mental dispositions and understand the situations that they are in. So many great beings, they practice and they go about their activities in this way because they understand that society operates within these five great fields of study, such as medicine, astrology, and other great fields of study and reflection. Yeah. So within these five studies or five fields of studies, then one is able to develop a deeper understanding of how society operates and those individual dispositions within that society. So following their studies and reflections of these five different fields of study, yeah, then they develop their understanding of the situation of society, and then when problems do arise, then they're better able to practice their patience and deal with those problematic situations. So this is actually very important. Yeah, you can see, for example, for people that may be married or together, their husband, and wife, if they do not have a deeper understanding of their of each other, then when problems do arise, then it's very difficult for them to manage him. And they understand the situation that their wife or husband may be undergoing. They understand from a physiological perspective that things may be undergoing change and transformation, and therefore their emotions may also be reflecting that change. So then, based on their understanding of what's going on, when there are problems, then they're better able to practice patience, yeah, and therefore they'll experience less problems and develop a more positive and happier relationship. So this really comes from a perspective of we can study deeper about the situation from a Buddhist perspective as well.
남산집이 최우통의 시험인데 난 sama 이코래 자념
Equanimity.
이코노미 야 테레스 라비오레스 라 테리 테디 디 임바디 삼시 제투바이나 디 임바디 understand 제투바이나 respect 용용 바레스 라 the respect 요바이나 peaceful 용용 바레다 어디래다 넘버 산지비 최고 나는데 내들 개체슈지 단다 들어차게 되었어라 economic 세야도다 아니 understand 세다 respect 세다 happiness 세다 다 연하면은 차게 되었어라.
So from a Buddhist perspective, when we speak in terms of the equality or the equanimity of reality, yeah, if we base that equanimity, we develop a deeper understanding of the situation. And because we understand the situation, then we develop a respect. And with respect, we develop a sense of peace and calm. So from a Buddhist perspective, we can see that it's very important to develop a view that is equal or equanimitous. And then we develop a deeper understanding or awareness of the situation. And then on that basis, we develop respect, and therefore our peace and happiness follow. That's what
대대인자다 뒤돌아다니 아니 걔는 삼주카리스라 먼저 삼성라 당한저 잡아선디 먼저 코들 제사 사자로 저래다다 그라 먼저 돌린 제사 사자로 오지 걔는 삼주카리요나야 아니 저 담바이나 아니 이게 남산주 최대에서 장요 반자 남산주 최응문에 간드 samtang gore tatsu khari yore tele tabshi khari yore ra an duzu tola ya tiwatine leba na charan zogi ndeba nanshingi ndeba la khan yoba tan tumbi nganzu keje she tugro asro timado takpa ngiji she deba na samsung charan nyom togra
So what are your thoughts actually? So every Friday we come together and we discuss. So perhaps we could have some questions and Geshe can provide a Buddhist perspective and discuss in terms of Buddhist views, different methods, and give answers from his understanding from a Buddhist perspective. So if we are able to have maybe some questions and answers, then your wishes may be filled, yeah, or be much more content. Whereas if Geshe is just talking from Geshe's side only, then perhaps you might become a little bored.
re charan samtang shos tiwa samtang ne nganzu tiwa tile manji tiwa chile chigen dasro ani ya dichire teni ta namasanji bi chule ya thoma shuondi kyamdru domba tangi mam shegora ta domba len jora ta pene gening domba kyamdru tsammayin ba ta gening domba len jora sro gening domba len ondi ani tsawa nga labsha nga songko yachi sokche ma choya kuma kuma choya ani zayim che ma choya zun she ma choya jora da tesu tsama lo ani muchobi gyun ta che murong yi gyun sen di ani samshi tugu da sira che murong yi gyun sen di ani shingo da ta kanji understand che go da ra te di che da gyacha gyani gyata ba respect yoyo bares ra di gyun sen di ngan sama la respect go yo banza dire da sira te di le ba ina ranshin ki tsewa me ba se ani shidi di yungu da tsawo kora dindi chin shi go res ra
So as you contemplate your questions that you might want to share, then Geshe will just reflect a little about from a Buddhist perspective. In the very outset, then we are taking refuge, we're seeking protection, yeah? But that refers mainly to practicing in terms of vows or restraints. So you can say from a layperson perspective, then there is the 5 lay vows or 5 different pieces of advice to refrain from killing, stealing, lying, and so forth. Yeah. So here we can question, well, actually, what is the reason why these 5 lay vows or the restraints, 5 different types of restraints? What is the reason that these actions are unsuitable? So we can develop a deeper understanding of that. And then based on that understanding, then we can develop a stronger respect for practicing those restraints. Sorry. So therefore, when we develop a deeper understanding and thereby we build our respect for practicing those restraints, then that restraint is actually very reliable and very worthwhile. And we can understand that naturally our behaviors become nonviolent. And therefore, we ourselves experience a lot more peace and happiness. That's a lot.
ta kipu yakshu di rawang deres ra kipshu di rawang deren do asra rawang deres tanda nganzu nyumum bi shamang tsu deba inza mari bi wan song deba dacha ki wan song deba control chado den sam ngai la soba kanji sem nyumumbi on somal teni ani nganzula ya magi ba shuji kaddu na magi bi choyong de yadi sem nyumumbi shawant kyobanza kanji sem ya nyumumbi shawant magi ba sem ya rawangi rawan me ba soro chagwanza ani magi ba legores za dor duna rawan deres ro kadzu sigi rawan yobayna tutsugi manzi masedi kiba yungu yores ro ta rawan yakshu di gona re ta direshas ro direshas
Rawan yakshu. Ne kipshu.
la bugwachi ya
That's it.
rawan re kipshu dires
So we can ask, well, what is the best happiness? Yeah. So that is freedom. So since we're under the power of the afflictive emotions such as anger, attachment, jealousy, competitiveness, and so on, then we're under the power or the sway of these afflictive emotions. We're lacking freedom of them, yeah? So we're always at some level or another experiencing a sense of dissatisfaction and unhappiness due to being under the control or lacking the freedom of these afflictive emotions, yeah? So we can say in brief that however free we are, then that much we will be experiencing a happy life. Yeah. So you can say the best type of happiness, the best type of is being free, freedom. That's a lot.
nga chunjung kong la ro nga chunjung indi nga lo ni samne ngi pingya o ma ki banza nga amanyam ni tu maras kazin pu chunjung nga yo ma di yo banza nga lo ni cheni ngi momu nyam ngi ami amajora ami amadi nyam nga nyen rois ra chigi ban pu ko chunjung ko ni sa lo ga ni sha ga do anzu verbal video mares mesang anzu mesang 미주 미 쭉쭉 쭉 요라다 아니 먼저 아마를 부치요래 아니 파마니래 모모래 아니 내가 춘주가랑 아시안데 열나 내가 좀 밑에 망보요래 아니 대양 니간 찍는 니에라서 소소소를 니간 요 말했어 다 듣지 온디 냠도 니에래 모두 로고로고 니사스 기요 말했어 내가 간징가 모모디 냠도 니 내가 로 쭉니 바르도 로 쭉니 바르도 nga momo nyamdi nyeyis. Ani momo di khattu ina ya, ta nga lo nga truk tsamni, ta nga Geshe na nyen tunge, shinge, dindi, chidini, ani momo di shogi ya khattu lamba ina, nga kena chawa che kukures. Kena chawa che kukures. Kena chawa che wana, kena mizi kiwu yung kures. Dindi kyanjaa lagu oras ra. Dindi ki chini, ani nga ya chenpu chawani, lo chugni, ta chugni kala ya, tanga chawa chegins. Ta momo nga nima takpa love denza, nga chawa chegins. Teni mir chawa ten thong ta, ani kibu pe yoras. Chawa re samdi pe, ani jesu yiran kiya, ten yoras taro. O, terda, ta tanda nge te ondi. Ta nge mitsi di kibu shu chong sha taro. Rawa. Nga ngara rawa chin. Ta sasang rauji yoba na, chidanda yagburi da ina ya. Tiongora, ta rawan di a. Jajangabshi tamba sasang dili tiongora da a. Susu rawan chiya yo mara da. Teri chilo rogo chuna. Ani kejichi, kumbushi. Ani ta karini chiya gora da. Ta ngala goma, ta nga rawan yoro. Kibu yoro. Kanda nyegi na, kanda langi na, kawa drogi na, kari sagi na. Geshe tigo mar tanga rama ro piki wars. In the channel the rama yakshi go we by na. Tao ane chiadita. The mezena kipshi. Isarisra. Nandi isar samgudusra. Nga mija chenyo me nga sasan chenyo me de ya. Indu samdang di nyokta peyasre samgudusra.
삼삼키부터 역탐한 채도 그래서 um so when Geshe was very young, only about 2 years old, at that time his mother was giving birth to his younger sibling. Yeah, so Geshe at the age of 2 years old was looked after and taken care of by his grandmother. Yeah. And altogether, there was a lot of people under one roof, yeah, perhaps 11 or 12 people that were all living together, yeah. So, of course, there was the mother and father, and Geshe also had a number of siblings. Geshe's mother had about 10, not about, but 10 children. But Geshe was looked after mostly by his grandmother. So also under this roof was Geshe's uncle. So there were many people in this room. So unlike what we have in the West, there weren't any separate bedrooms. It was all under one roof, yeah? So until the age of 12, Geshe would sleep with his grandmother, yeah? So at the age maybe from 5 or 6, his grandmother would repeatedly mention to Geshe. Geshe would listen to different conversations, but Geshe's grandmother would repeat, "You must become a monk. You must become a monk. If you become a monk, you'll be very happy. You'll have a happy life." Yeah. So once Geshe grew up further, maybe 11 or 12 years old, because his grandmother said on a daily basis that you should become a monk. When Geshe saw a monk, and then he felt very happy. He rejoiced by even just seeing a monk, and he developed this wish in order to become a monastic himself, because he understands that the monks, they had this sense of freedom. A sense of freedom that is in contrast to the domestic or family life, yeah. So whereas a family life, there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of things that must be looked after and taken care of. And then if one wants to go out or go here and then everything needs to be organized, and one needs to ask what one want, what the others want, and there's no freedom. Yeah. Whereas the monastic is able to do what they want. They're able to eat or drink at any any without to organize other people. So really, if you're looking for that sense of freedom, then becoming a monk or a nun is probably really the best option. Yeah. Whereas even though Geshe doesn't have the family life experience, then he feels that maybe there's a lot less opportunity for being free. Let's have.
Tanga lo chok somne tawa chera sra. Tanga tawa chedi nganzu lombala ya tawa res la di sama pe respect yores. Respect pe yores. Tawa res la di kol domba yores la di. Ani pena chatongsa kabi na mixe zangma chini chegi res. Desa ina zangma chini shagi res. Ani kala ina ngenle chegi res. Tu siyon di teni da ani nang ni da mang chiya nga kur chunjunchi, kur sobda diri jora. Tanda nga zi dela e sobda yo kyo ka kamba chi soda chunjun dini.
Yeah.
Ya e.
Alejo,
이
Lazula.
and the kong de were rap desag yeah yeah ti드 찍부지 양치 그렇게 써요 생각라 나로는 니트 찍모도 계시고 말아 디스 디나는 니트 쓰지 나들 니 쳐거레스 아 딘디 렉스페르다 다 오늘 라고 이거랬어 딘디 치디기다 간증이 메시지 삐기우 총샷 삐기우 라마 여원자 간나 간자고 라마 여원자 샘능이 뉴모다 벤 삼자 컨트롤 사이라 소바다 딘디 이어다 이나야 간지 라마 페여레스
So at the age of 13, Geshe became a monk, a Buddhistic. So in the area that Geshe came from, if what is a Buddhistic, that really evokes a lot of respect because the Buddhistic is protecting the vows. So this evokes a lot of respect from the locals here. So for example, for example, that level of respect can be demonstrated by the fact that a monastic is given a separate cup, drinking cup, and that cup is especially clean and kept clean and separate. And also another example is that the monastic is served food before others, So in Geshe's case, Geshe was offered a small tent, a separate tent in the shape of an A, So, and Geshe was given permission to sleep inside this tent. Inside there's not much other furniture, but Geshe slept inside this tent. So, similar to what Ralph is staying in, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, but this was due to that great level of respect that was given, and because of that respect, Geshe was able to gain a greater sense of freedom, So, and on this basis, Geshe feels that his life so far has been led very happily, in a very happy way. So even though Geshe may have the afflictive emotions from time to time, anger does arise, for example, but in general, it is very free. That's all.
nganzu ni pama imba ya ni kap nalo chatong mares nga trawares la ni pama da ni ani pinja da ni semo samagi ni kap nalo chatong mares nga trawares la ta shamba de yin baro ta tinji gi pe ani respect yores tarwa tichi dige ani ta tawada ane so 비기우여스 따라 미 레스펙트 쇼치라 데니 란싱 그 소수이나 야부 제 고다다 로 야부 맞이바나 최냠nen치야다 동바송야다 아니 지 아드즈 참았다 야부지 맞이나 메두즈 딘디 야부 제거래 아니 소수 야부 맞이나 딱 못사그러 왔어 아 베사그러 왔어 딘디 토네 samdang danga chi chalong chongsa koyu do de ni ngone chi chue chesa ge tan tunge ya bu shu yo ba chila ya ani nga ki do asra te kanji de do samdang da yaksa da di ton samdang di tanda nimbo 갈래 그래서 수수 semba di kiwu chaga do asra tanga samma da gare semba kiwu chongo gores semba kiwu 요는 kiwure semba kiwu면 다 kiwu 말아 왔어 자는 semba 가르면 가리여 봐 있네요 근데 걔는 괜찮은 드라마를 따라가 세단 되니 드라마는 그래 도저히 팔람 라 소바디 가주 딱 봐이나야 셈바 기우면은 개팽문도 왔어 니 뭐지 나로 니 수부 나로야 세더다 딘디 칸에 딱 녀마르다 이나야 sempa pikiyo res, ra.
So, for example, Geshe's parents, his mother and father, and even his siblings, nobody would drink their tea from Geshe's cup. They might share others, each other's cups, but nobody would ever take their tea from Geshe's cup. And because they said, because he is a monk, yeah, and out of respect, they never used his cup for their tea, yeah. So with this feeling or this sense of respect that Geshe received, he felt very, fortunate and very happy. But this naturally translated to that making sure that his behavior, his practice of the Buddha Dharma, protecting his vows, was done well in a good way. Because others, they showed this level of respect, they treat me well, then it would be quite shameful if Geshe didn't practice the Buddha Dharma well or didn't protect his vows well. So thinking about the good situation that Geshe has been in over these years, then really ultimately Geshe has been able to cultivate a very happy mind, yeah. So, and then regardless of the situations that do arise, then, or maybe that regardless of the resources that one may have, then if one is able to keep a happy mind, then one will be happy. If you have an unhappy mind, then one will be unhappy. So it just goes to show that if you have maybe many diamonds or great, gold or, jewels, then regardless of how many diamonds you may have, if you don't have a happy mind, that's really not going to be of any benefit. Yeah. So even though Geshe doesn't necessarily doesn't being in the possession of many pieces of gold or diamonds and so forth, but he's able to maintain that happy mind. That's all.
Mantas. I think too much. No.
So maybe we've spoken a little too much, but if you have any questions, please ask.
Yeah.
Morning, Geshe. I just wanted to ask, please, with regards to dying in the bardo, when you're a Buddhist and you've taken refuge, say if you take refuge while you're dying or something, would the Buddhas sort of guide you through the bardo? I sort of want a safety net for when I die. I know it's karma and we'll end up where we end up, but I just, I don't know. I want someone to hold my hand when I die.
So your question is it if you take refuge during the dying process, is it possible for the Buddhas to help guide you as you pass through the bardo?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it.
Intermediate state, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your question?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Moigi, Shiva, any bato, jodu, sampala, shikalabula, any susu, capjo, capjoda, any bador, gikabla, any sange, changsem la sopa, any ropa chenang tubkirebe.
당간주기 대바들인다. 간주 대바데 이치세디. 아니 니 약부 지어봐나. 산지 찬섬 그 gaddu이나 간주를 로바치 두고레스. 산지 찬섬 그 간주를 로바치야기 누바디다 찬성 요레스라. 간주 대바디기. 간주 대바디기 단 당그 용문도 아스라. 예, 단 간주 대바 약부 여바나. 걔는 짬도 약부 지어봐나. 야차 야니 야탕 봤다. 산지 찬섬 걔는 로바치 두고레스.
So it's really dependent on our faith and conviction. Yeah. So if we have faith and conviction, yeah, then they're always, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are always able to help us and assist us. Yeah. So really, they have this capacity at all times to be of help and assistance to us. Yeah. But it's really dependent on our level of faith and conviction in that. Yeah. So if you have great faith and great conviction, and then if we go for refuge on that basis, yeah, then it is for sure that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, will be able to assist you at this time. That's sort of.
얘는 줌바다 덴바 세잖아. 줌마다 덴바. 먼저 덴바 미치 덴바 시에치네. 미갸 탐바 줌마시 여바나. 미치디 니바식 체그라서라. 다 틈강 약부 질은 줘봐이나. 미갸 미고추 고고 줌마시에치. 콘도 초디니 용아치. 미치 덴바 여와치. 디니 드니 틈강은 줘봐이나. 틈강 약부 질은 줘봐이나. 미고추 고고도 쇼르라다. 콘도 줌바라. 미치기 덴바 인자 덴바디 가드나 덴바라 와다. 토그라 와서라. 다디 마탑 나 춤간데 장부 메와리 마도 미디기 꽤 말아왔어.
Timkan.
춤간스나.
Timkan.
야.
Let's hear that.
야. 디디 찍버렸어. 산지 찬섬 그 덴비 톱저라스. 디 가드이나 간솔 yap겨려레스. 간수 다가라 이치치 람딘 체바디 간은 드로바이나 가드이나 간솔라 수구마레스. 간솔 yap겨 체투그레스. 니바요레스.
So, for example, if we take a group of people, some of this group are liars, and one person is telling the truth. So you could say 100 or maybe 99 people are giving a lie, telling a lie. But that one person, there's one person that is telling the truth. So then all the people that are telling a falsehood, there's not going to be any support. There's not going to be any weight, you know. Whereas if you've got one person that is telling the truth, even though they're just one, but the truth, they're sharing what is true. So therefore it's going to have the power or capacity to help. Yeah. So it's like when, the example is given in the context of people going to prison. Yeah. There's 99 people that are in there and they've lied. Yeah. But one person amongst that group in prison are telling the truth. Yeah. So, but the person that is telling the truth is got something that is reliable, is supported. Whereas the others that are lying, they are false, then there's no support there. So the same way in the Buddha, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they have this reliable truth, yeah, and therefore they're able to protect us, yeah, and they never give up their power or capacity to protect us. So in this way, they can help. That's all. Geshe. As we work with people and understand their perspective and the suffering behind the way they behave, the way we behave, how can we move toward compassionate action to help take care of the planet and the non-human world? So once we develop our understanding of people's behaviors and on the basis of our own behavior, how do we cultivate our own compassionate actions in terms of society and of the environment, and animals? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Yeah? Okay. So, Muigi, ngatsu ki tsim, ngatsu ki dripa, tang shen ki chepa, and in ngatsu chepa, chawa
Yeah.
chepa, and ngatsu this goes suna ra tara goes sune, and the the goes sune, then ngatsu ninja gi jepa gi gone, and woyuk dang semchen gi ropa chedan kandedo. Ngatsu jepa, and shen gi jepa, ngatsu yabo shebe jela, then ngatsu ninja gi wangi, ra, and shenbengi lega, shen dikabla labna, ngatsu zambalingi koyuk, tang semchen dunjo la sopa, ngatsu shenbengi lega kande nang chegidosa.
Kanda chitu kures.
Kande chetubgiresa.
That is the Sibur was right. That's the one nganzu mang chejigi sosu joba di sosu shingyo marada. Shingyo marsana karse warsana sosu joba digi jig penno joba mi mangbu jigi joba dukja shuji kigi warda ya koran yagbu yin samde warada. Di karsana sosu joba sosu mashi warasra. Da any she nganzu zambali nangla ya nganzu kazingi mashi zambali nangla ya nganzu chedang mangbuji nor drogyarasra chedang nor valiteni zambaling koyu trola drogyores koyu trola drondi tela zambalina nebi sochak mangbu shojila ya kangan tegyorasra di karesana ani zambaling nangla yobi chik mi mangbu yakab mangbu chiki 하장기 아니 ndeba chetan ro ndeba chetani ani chi long che ya de mangtani pena penjo yina penjo duya de mangtana kanga chegwaras ro peje tanya de mangtan zambaling koyu dingazu peje chego gorde ina ya anzu peje cheya de mangtaya gi nyanga yaja yada ma yorwas ro pena nganzu michi gi kala tusum sagore kala tusum saya gi 텔레야 로송 가지고 저거래 디시송기 내가 제와이나 땡땡 간주 배주지에 용땅 쳐버렸어 간주 셀리기 짠짠씩 라 미치글라 고야디 미추 탕바기 배주지에 두야디 미치기 배주지는 러시아거든 니마치가 딘디 지원된 간주 저버디 셀리기 저거랬다 라 아니 수수 사야디 베나 탈레 가만도 사기메 바이나 탈레 찍데 제가 쓰지 아니 제가 유기자야로 써봐 딘디 저버디 간주 저버 캐탄데 미망부 쇼지 노르기 어라서라 디 하고 와이나 디 하고니 lega chebana Geshe jataman zambling laya pensar wasra.
So when we think about it, it can become quite clear, yeah. But actually, the behaviors of other people, it's difficult for us to know exactly because what we may see is something maybe a bad or negative behavior, but from the perspective of that person, that behavior is not bad. They don't perceive that as something negative, yeah. So, but you can see in general in our world, it's very clear that there's a lot of mistaken behaviors and a lot of bad behavior because of the results. It is destroying our environment and therefore creating a lot of hardship for those beings, those living beings that live within that environment. Yeah. So you can see that this is due to, in many nations, all the people that are overindulging, yeah, in the resources. There's just way too many desires and attachment, and therefore leading to this over usage of resources and overindulgence. So you can see very clearly that this is a very dangerous situation, yeah. So for example, we eat 3 times a day, and all those expenses that are associated with eating 3 times or 3 meals a day. So whereas if we just refine our eating habits to maybe only to vegetables or lighter foods, then the amount of food that we consume, maybe it was the equivalent to 10 people, then it would actually be reduced down to the equivalent of just a single person. Because we see the serving amounts of this food, then the food is prepared maybe 1 plate, but usually people serve more of food that is unnecessary, maybe 1.5 plates. But then that food, half of that food is wasted and left over. Yeah. So we can very clearly see these behaviors that are really wasteful and mistaken. But if we begin to reflect and look at these behaviors, then if we adjust those behaviors, then this would really be of great benefit. That's all.
Ngadanda na Sanchen Plaza the Mamu Dogo Sara. Sanchen Plaza. I always went to Sanchen Plaza. Then kazi na nga komba jab go warata. Ah, exercise go wardangala. The people drone the komba jen draw by nara. Nimat sawo mare. Any lamga de devurwa. Lamga sunga nalogi any lamga kanga pet devushu yora. Mala amjigi chen lamga devu kanga ya komba mambu jago the lasa. And tichidigi any kanji pendo yora. Do stay on the sunga do stay on the jacha jechus chik töbereshas.
Ba.
Töber extra.
Mm-hmm.
Extra reshas. Tramushevan also dulo gogor, dulo kare subu mancha yakchet. Ah, that dulo mancha the sopta cancer shouldn't say her as a. That did subu that did some Tramushevan did some Tebero read as a. Sopta cancer shouldn't discern me to Kungda. Did Nimata Kung Martas, Shoki Kung by the Gonda Kung Marta. The Rim Kung by the Sanu Kung Marta and Jevo Jaya. News as example, Tinipedi. 셀기 유래도스라. 다들 참말로 가르치고 간지 소고래. 잠을 코유 배주지. 다 디기 코유가 가지고 있는 거라. 디리 다 코유가 있는 거래. 아니 남실 있는 거래. 아니 디기 밀 있는 거래. 심절 있는 거래. 돈을 있는 거래. 참을 있는 거다스라. 어디다. 딘자 당아서 디스 참아 삼시 제도문다스라 고우다 땅아 고동아 고이지 라샤디 삼발라 무고야 망부시오지 고주 차가다 당아서 다이는 딩안주 미치기니지 계제시네 까토야다 요마라다 여라 이번에 미소소송원에 가주 도도게 아니 뇽을 땅바이나 무고야 리디 마뉴바이나 소소를 땜비 가나간점기 잠블리나 펜도 용시기라서라 간지 꾸농 야부지 계신 잠블링 쿠이가 누구리 소차 망불은 누구리 삼체니 소수기 배주지야디 야부지 배주지 오늘 공이지 고기요리 배주지야지 골라 먹을라 되게 배주 맞지 디 드로트와는 빼야와 여름징이 많이 송거였다스라 여름지 쇼기 중간나라 치도아시라 소주어디 only one cup water he use tirda kum dilsungol kapchi chupe zambling이 아니 코이글은 누구래선 들리는 거랬더라 때문에 만좀에 상황이 지체와는 야시자도 오스트레일리아가 축구하는 팽그라더라
So Geshe regularly walks the Sunshine Plaza. Yeah. So Geshe's doctor recommended that Geshe walk for exercise in a place that is, out of the sun and so forth. A very, easy place to walk. Yeah. So Geshe regularly walks up and down the plaza. And while he does so, he looks at the shops and looks around him, and he sees that there's a lot of different types of clothing. Whereas in reality, we know that clothing, the purpose of it is to protect our bodies from the cold, yeah? And Geshe can really see that there's a lot of weird shaped, funny-looking clothes, yeah? But then Geshe reflects that really all of these clothes are really quite excessive, but we are all encouraged to buy more and more because we think, oh, in the morning I'm going to wear this, and then in the afternoon they're going to change and then wear this, and then they wear one thing today and then they wear another thing tomorrow. But this is all very excessive, yeah? Whereas if we can, maybe we're not able to tell others, please don't, act in this way. Don't buy excessively. But what we can do is from our own perspective, we can think, well, there is no need to buy these clothes in excess because we know that in order to make these clothes, it is harmful for the environment. Then affects our weather, and then affects the animals, and therefore affects us as humans. It's harmful for all of us, yeah? So even though we can't say, well, to others, well, you don't need all of this, but from our own side, we can try to buy less, engage less, and then to the best of our ability, that much we're able to be a benefit to our world, yeah? So with this good motivation, because we understand that this excessiveness is something that is really harmful for our environment and so on, then we don't engage and use anything that is really unnecessary or excessive. So, for example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, when he is brushing his teeth, he only uses a single cup of water in order to conserve the water, yeah? So he only uses a single cup of water when brushing his teeth. So this is really for the sake of protecting the environment. So in this way, we ourselves, if we practice in this way, if we reduce our usage, then this will be of benefit to the water preservation in Australia. That's what
당한 피 플라자를 좋은디 ngala mixing shu yo martas plaza na ngala goya di gacha ta calls la droba no ta ani subject vegetable so ta fruit la so yora de zungi ngala ji ma di shamba ngala ta peshi yo mares pena chatonsa mangbu yor da ina pegi chat ngala shimu mundos ra kunzo oma changmun lo da nga oma changmun lo je chala zawa ni ne gawo mesra coffee 통해서 망보 난 coffee 가오치 에메스 되는 가무 망보셔 난 가무 사초 말했어 라 가지 나라 고야지 요 말다 이네 야 공부 잡는 로 봐이나 고 자침부래 근데 남가 되우래 되는가 가슈디다 함고레스 이 함고 약 퀄리티 약시 뇨기스 가진 디 트된라 계신부래 더서 먼저 함고 디 아니เป็น딱딱지 매와이나 아니 수북이 비기 다 찍을 수 참아라 답식된 것도 왔어라 아니 한국이 변나 더 칠로 레 매와이나야 한국 나로 아니 마 나로 마 딤줘야죠다 나로 디 한번 그런 세로인디 쪼쪼 차로도 왔어라 디 암지도 라고도 한국 쪼쪼 차줘디 ಕಂ바이나 수부 밸런스는 뉴그레스 뭐는 인사레스 딘디기 도는 게 한국어로 도난식이 했어라 샴바 요 말때 캔자 줘서 디레다 저 딘디기 도라 아니 내주 딘디로 통구도스
So while Geshe is at the plaza, then perhaps he visits Coles, yeah, and he's interested in buying fruit and vegetable. But anything else is really of no other use. Even the coffee shops or the tea shops, yeah. Geshe certainly doesn't like going to these places, really, because he really doesn't find the tea very suitable because sometimes they add cold milk, yeah. And certainly Geshe doesn't enjoy coffee. So all these other places, and especially the sweet shops, Geshe is not allowed to eat sweets and so forth. All these other shops are really quite useless. But Geshe is actually a little bit interested in shoes because the doctor has mentioned that if one has improper shoes, if the shoe is got a like an imbalanced sole, for lack of a better word, if the soles or if the shoe is not fitted properly, then this can affect one's joints and walking style. So this is really for the purpose of the Geshe's health. That Geshe is interested in the good quality shoes, yeah. But all the other shops that are there are really of no use. But he finds it very useful to walk up and down in the plaza because it's very smooth and easy to walk, and it's very open. It's an open space. So Geshe but while he's doing this walking, he's really able to observe this level of excessiveness. That's it.
난주 공부해라. Sorry, 1 minute. 난주 세라 공부하라. 세라 공부라. 자동차 실라 되고레스. 자동차 실라 되디게 다 칸밤 다 가주세요라. 다 칸바 되서 다 줄라 칸도서 토가라. 겨울무치라야 숨종을 세요레스. 겨울무치가 숨종 나눠라야 단데 추니에 계사지도 베센 첨부 디어르모도 셴바 수치기 가려 말했어.
네.
이제 겨울무치티 배전 남겨요 말했어. 겨울무치가 구슬 주디게 단다 가래 락팅 갈라래 바게트직 나로로 추칸 루진 디 구즈 시거레스
알레.
이 추망부 배주지는 닌 자원이 있는 게 말이스 원반은 디칭이 지요 말 저동다 시가 나로라 때디 아니 미치기 출리다 뉴스 숨주 배주체진 수부트야져라 자원이 지요 말이스 단단 간서 더발라 미치기 배시 추 배는 추인바는 쇼 배시 지워라 수부트야 디 가르치워스나 소소도 내가 기회 얘기되네야 간지 먼저 롬베 쿠유라 야채자다면 누구라서라 단단 간지 잠불레 나와다 깔레 카슈지 몽바 깔레 카슈지디 통축 돈이 강한 체그리 세리빌라고라 롬보 몽부 쇼지라얀 통축거라 여마라서라 어디르다 딘디 삼로 땅이라 미참하기 지 삼시지 제진 배주 딱딱 시와나 야시야다는 단 잠을 팽거라서라
So, for example, at the Zara Monastic University, there are more than 4,000 monks, yeah? And each of those, not necessarily each, sorry, but there all these monks need to be housed, yeah? So within all those houses or rooms, there is some way to wash, yeah? So, but above the main temple, is where His Holiness the Dalai Lama's residence is, yeah? And in His Holiness the Dalai Lama's residence, they constructed a shower, a very big bathroom. But His Holiness the Dalai Lama never uses this shower or bathroom, but prefers instead to take a shower or a bathe with using a bucket and jug, yeah? So even though they installed this shower, His Holiness never uses it. Yeah. So there are many. So out of all the monastics that are there and all the places where they live, it was only in His Holiness the Dalai Lama's residence where they installed this, big bathroom with a shower. Yeah, but he himself prefers to use the bucket and jug method of bathing. Yeah, so because even though we might get a little bit of temporary enjoyment from having a long shower but we use a lot of water when we indulge in a long shower, yeah. But actually, if we think about it well, then this eventually, looking at it from a long-term perspective, is very harmful for our country. Because scientists say that in future, if the water is misused, then there is going to be water shortages, yeah. So, but for our short-sightedness, then we overuse or we use water in an excessive way. But if we're able to develop our understanding of the situation, then we can use our water more wisely. And this would be a great benefit to our world. That's all.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Jenny. My question is, with living with someone who's very selfish, self-cherishing, grasping at everything, has a medical condition which is getting worse, and I'm put in a position where I'm on call all the time. He wants to go out all the time, so we go out. I've now learned to take books with me. I have my beads with me, so I do my practice in these times. My question is now, I want to move forward in Buddhism, but I'm finding he's holding me back because of the condition. I mean, it's not as though I could just get up and walk out of the house because he's just not coping on his own. So I'm asking if you've got any suggestions of any miracles up your sleeve.
So basically you're asking how are you able to practice within this situation?
Yes. I mean, I come over here as much as I can, but at home, it's sort of, he's got to the stage now, he knows where I'm at the altar, he doesn't come in, but he's twice last week come in the middle of prostrations, middle of meditation, and he doesn't realize that he's interrupting you. So that's the problem.
So that's the problem. Do you want me to focus on that with his
I can
interrupting your practices?
understand where he's coming from and what he's doing, but he doesn't understand.
Sorry, I can't hear.
I said I understand where he's coming from and what he's doing, but he doesn't understand it. So his memory's going faster than we thought it was, and even to the point where I get asked the same question 1,000 times, and I have become much more patient with him. But every now and then I snap and say, "I've told you that before," and he comes back at me and says, "Why are you always so cranky?" Which then upsets me because I'm not cranky, but I'm just upset because I can't get through to him. So, but I just want to know how I progress with my practice, because I feel I'm being held back by him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll do my best to get your
So it's complicated.
context over. Yeah, context over, but I'll just in brief. So, Geshe, kugi netsu, and hangi netsu, this kalikapudo gade hotegido, kugi ropa, semkamgi nasa shuchimbo yure, and it's semkamgi nasa shuchimbo yutsang, nambe churgi nyamlin, chedu sambala, munam kapki yure, chasagi kapki, yutu sambala, ko kabra kabre, any nyokta sogito, any nyokta sogito. And it's some kong this long langito ini kola long langito and this old tokito kong the sir sam gom chobayang ini tajong this lobcha gogiyes.
계란기 소복검 투구 여반다 다 내려왔다. 약수도 들어라. 그래서는 계란기 다 쌈시 지 투구 여라. 그래서는 코랑 샘감기 나서 숙침부 여반자. 다 카요 말하다. 샘감기 나서 레바이나 나는 삼을 찍 버렸다. 샘감기 나서 질레바이나 아니 쌈당 투구 말하다. 그 나서왕 베낭안주 수고라야 나서 질레바이나 아니 당 베는 비몬 나서 레바이나 강북부 투구 말하대. 가서 그 나서 여반자. 안주 쌈시 지 투구라. 진짜 아니 다 딘디지기래야 계란기 수업 공부하나 오늘 약부려 왔어. 라. 다 콜라 강가 열어다. 강가 열이 나사 열이 다 딘디지래야 계란기 수업 공부지 로바지 제투바나 다 남비 추 약수도 뒤차고 그랬어. 이제 약수도 뒤차고 그랬어. 다 계란 디샤니 당가 추 지긴 있으라바나 아니 추 딱딱이 차고 말했어. 간지 당이 디샤니 강한 체스들 로봇 체 고사지르다 걔는 로봇 인자 로봇이 고그러 와서라 다 강한 체디여서 네바 아니 로봇이 고사지려야 로봇이 마투나 아니 넘버 산지 위치 차가 말했더라 자 잠보시면 다 걔는 디 민투는 소복공 아니 로봇이 와나 디 대벌시 미치 잔주선비 오늘 잔주선비 좁아디 디차그레스 걔는 민투는 제두고 그랬어 라 니상는다
So yes, this practice of patience is something really great that you're doing. Yeah, this is really the best. Yeah, but as you know, somebody that has a difficulty that is mentally incapacitated and so forth. They're not able to understand, like you are, that the situation, they're not able to self-reflect, so to speak, yeah? So, for example, if you yourself have a knee pain, yeah, but even though you're unable to remove that knee pain, but you're able to understand it and the causes why that is arising, yeah. So then you're better able to um um uh, put up with it, yeah, or have patience with it. Whereas it's difficult to develop the understanding if one has that inability to reflect, yeah. So it's really good that you are able to practice patience, yeah. But for example, if you put aside, yeah, or if you let go of the opportunity to help the other person that is experiencing difficulties and problems, and put aside that in order to practice the Buddha Dharma, then this doesn't quite sit right. So what you are engaging in, even though it might not be overtly Buddhist, like overtly, like what's the best word? Like formal Buddhist practice, what you are doing is engaging in Buddhist practice by helping the other person that is in need. So this is really a Mahayana practice. This is a bodhisattva practice, bodhisattva activity. So if you're able to continue in this way and reflect that this is a bodhisattva Mahayana practice, Geshe feels this is beneficial. That's it.
Thank you.
So we'll go to the final Lamrim prayer on page 12 of our little booklet. For my two types of merit as vast as space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become a chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of the complete graded paths to the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path that I have disc in them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-being eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths, never be parted in any of their lives by the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.